One of the things that frustrates me about SBF is that we only know the location during the sales launch itself. Unlike BTO, where HDB announced the location several months in advance, for SBF, you literally have to wait for the launch week itself. If you ask which town will have SBF, well, the answer is pretty much almost every town. Why? Because SBF also sells older repurchased flats. But usually, the volume is low because it's literally random flats that are being resold. But the key question is, where will the biggest supply be? Because in every SBF, there are actually several key projects being offered again to the public. As I have reviewed several SBF launches in the past couple of years, I'm starting to notice that SBF big locations are not exactly random. So if we look closely at the data from past SBF launches, usually the major supplies in SBF come from two very specific buckets. Number one is the Untaken SERS units. When HDB moves residents from an old en bloc site to a new replacement project, not everyone takes up the offer. Some seniors choose to move in with their children, while others opt for the SERS cash out and buy a resale flat elsewhere. These leftover brand new units are then funneled straight into the SBF pool several years later. And the second source of big supply usually comes from mega BTO leftovers. When I say mega project, I am referring to massive BTO developments with over 1,000 units. Because the volume is so high, the number of people who drop out due to failed loans, breakups, and change plans are also higher. These bounce units create a massive stockpile for the next SBF. And usually, if a mega BTO is not located near any MRT station, it is also impacting the take-up rate of that project itself. So they will have more leftover units. So by tracking which SERS replacement sites are finishing and which mega BTOs are reaching their selection stage, we can actually predict where the big supply towns will be for the upcoming SBF. So now let's talk about the first bucket first, which is the Untaken SERS units. So if we look at the history, there have been several SERS projects in the last decade or so, but they have become very rare. In fact, HDB has officially stated that most sites with high redevelopment potential have already been selected, and they are now shifting focus towards a new scheme called FIRST, or Voluntary Early Redevelopment Scheme. So here are several SERS projects that were announced or active within the past, let's say, 8 years or so. The first one is Ang Mo Kio Avenue 3, blocks 562 until 565. So this was announced back in April 2022, and it involves 606 units. This was the first SERS announcement in 4 years and caused quite a stir because the flats were relatively old, which is like completed in 1979. Many elderly residents were worried that they would have to top up cash to buy a new replacement flat with a full 99-year lease. Due to public feedback, HDB ends up introducing this new option for these residents where they could choose a 50-year lease for their replacement flat instead of the full 99 years, making it more affordable for seniors. Now, we don't know exactly what is the take-up rate from the residents there, but I am guessing probably there will be some unwanted units that ends up in the upcoming SBF launch. So we'll see whether this is true or not. And then the other SERS project, which is quite recent in the past decade, is the Marsiling Crescent blocks 210 to 218. Again, this was also announced back in May 2022, and it involved 732 flats. And then this was a very unique SERS case. These blocks were acquired specifically to facilitate the expansion of the Woodlands checkpoint. Residents were offered replacement flats at Woodlands Street 13, located near Marsiling MRT station. So there's also a possibility that the upcoming SBF will also include some of the unbooked flats from this particular location, but we'll see how it goes. There's actually another SERS project in the past decade, which is McPherson Blossom, but I don't think it will pop up again so much in the upcoming SBF because it has been offered back in July 2025 SBF launch. Maybe if there are some leftover from that particular development, but I don't suspect they will still have a lot of stock from that particular development. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, now let's look at the other bucket, which is the mega BTO projects. So this table is showing the summary of big BTO projects in the past several years or so. As you can see, some is in a mature town, some in non-mature towns, but usually the ones that ended up in SBF would be those mega project who are not near MRT station or doesn't get as much interest from the public. So for example, from this list, I can already tell like, Mount Pleasant Crest would not be much part of the upcoming SBF because Toa Payoh is highly desirable, and then this particular BTO, Mount Pleasant Crest BTO, is very near to an MRT station. So I don't think we will see it being offered much in the upcoming SBF. But my guess is Taman Jurong Skyline, which is located at Jurong West, would end up in the upcoming SBF. Located along Yung Ho Walk, Taman Jurong Skyline BTO offers residents view of the serene Jurong Lake Gardens to the north. It comprises of 5 residential blocks, and it consists like more than 1,800 units of 2-room flexi, 3-room, 4-room, 5-room, and even 3-gen flats. The on-site facilities itself is actually not that bad, it's quite good because it will have a supermarket, an eating house, several shops, and then it will also have the typical preschool and also residence network center. But this location is very, very far from any MRT station, and I don't think there will be any MRT station even in the future because of the location. So you will need to rely on feeder buses or your own private vehicle if you want to live here. If you don't mind living a little bit far from the MRT station, this could probably be an option for you. If we go back to the table again, I think Plantation Village has been offered in the past SBF, so I don't think it will reappear. Maybe some units from Bayshore Vista and Bayshore Palms will be offered. Not so sure because it's categorized as plus. And then Chencharu Hills, I think Yishun is pretty popular. So again, if I look at this table, again, I would say Taman Jurong Skyline BTO would be the one that I think will be one of the key supply in the upcoming SBF. But that's my guess. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.